Hey, hey, it's Q&A Wednesday. We have a great question today, and we don't often hear from our regional supervisors, but today we have one that comes from a regional. And I love this question because one of the things that you can always count on with multifamily housing is that things are always changing. Especially we see this to be the case with changes in management companies. So let's listen to this question. It comes from Amy. She's out of Kansas City, and Amy writes, I'm a regional supervisor for a large management company. Over the last year, we have acquired over 40 plus communities nationwide. I love that. We love to see that kind of growth. While some of the transition are better than others, I can never say that they are seamless. What concerns me the most is the residents that we lose along the way. A lot are fed up with the previous management company and they don't seem to give us a chance. Any advice I can share with my teams on retaining residents during the transition? Thanks, Amy. Amy, that's a great question. So I've got some really great points that I want to share with you. So let's dive right in. You know, when most people think of transitional periods, very few think of them fondly. Try telling a 13-year-old boy that awkward stage is going to pass. They don't believe you, but pass it does, right? Transitional phases can be a little bit awkward, they can be a little bit stressful, but the first place that we start with is changing the perception of what a transition period is going to be. You know, it's our employees that'll make or break this. So before we talk about how we can retain our residents, let's talk about keeping employee morale high. During this heavy lifting period, this is really a time for your employees to cultivate skills that they've never had before. And typically they acquire them very quickly out of necessity. And it's during this heavy lifting period that we differentiate the boys from the men or the girls from the women, right? So this is an opportunity for a lot of growth within your teams. Now, it's up to you as the boss to paint that picture and to show them that during these times is when really people can make or break their careers. Setting rewards along the way can be an added way to keep your teams motivated. That always helps if there's goals and there's markers along the way. Now here's the situation. If you're retaining employees from the previous management companies, you've got to really empathize with them. There's a lot of changes going on. It might feel like the rug's been pulled out from under them. So it's up to you to make this as smooth as possible for them. Don't try to implement too many changes all at once and really consider your battles. Sometimes it's okay if they continue certain business practices as usual, even if you have to implement policies a little bit slower. So as the captain of your team, it's up to you to present this as an awesome opportunity. And a fun thing to do is give every single one of your employees that's in this phase a gift. One of my favorites is the book, Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson, and it's all about change and dealing with it. So I encourage you, that would be a great book to give to your employees. Now that we've got our teams on board and we've got them excited, it's time to do the same thing with our residents, right? So let's start out by sending a lighthearted letter. Now think nothing uber corporate. They've already seen all of this. We want something fun, something light that just introduces ourselves and maybe highlights some of the things that they'll be seeing over the next few weeks and over the next few months. In addition to that, we want to keep things a little bit casual. Keep them informed of work or progress that's going to be done along the way. Now, rather than doing an overplayed under new management banner, try something different, like change never looked this good or change never was this easy. Something that's eye-catching, something that's out of the norm. Again, you have to remember that residents have heard that a lot of changes are going to be made, but they've heard so much, now we need to see action take place. This is the time where your team really needs to be highly visible. Again, we want them seen. So how do we do this? A great way to do this is by greeting residents with a breakfast at the gate to introduce your team, or maybe welcoming kids home from school with some kind of healthy snack. Or even another one, which I love, is having a sweets cart that you set up at the mail center. It gives you an opportunity to start building those relationships one-on-one and introducing your team. Now, these events, these small ones, they can lead up to a bigger event. So maybe you want to host a community cookout, or I love this idea that was submitted. Have a planting party, buy plots of flowers, and invite residents to come out and help. If they see that you really are willing to get your hands dirty, so to speak, and to help make the community better, they're going to instantly have a little bit of a safer feeling about this change that's taking place. Okay, so again, residents need to see change. They don't need to just hear about change. This is especially true with residents that have leases that are about to expire. These are the ones that you are really most vulnerable because they have the ability to leave your community. So resist the urge to tell them that things are going to be so different and just to kind of brush it over and place blame on the past management. Your goal is, one, empathize with them. I understand how you feel. If I would live here, I would have felt the same way. Next, enlist their help. Ask them, you've been living here longer than we've been here. What do you think we could do to improve the community? If you get them to buy into the feedback and into the suggestions, and then you implement that change, they're more likely to get behind you as a management company. Now, beyond that, you want to be cautious about implementing change too quickly. I've seen full-on revolts at communities where they went from accepting checks to the new company not accepting checks as a payment from one day to the next. People were so upset because this wasn't implemented gradually. They weren't made aware of the situation. This is a way to instantly have a bad taste in their mouth right from the beginning, and it's something you cannot do. Now, again, as obvious as it may sound, you need to really rev up your outreach marketing at this point. Make yourself known in the community. Start to build that new reputation. Visit local businesses, introduce yourself, find those partnerships. That's going to help you because inevitably you're going to have some residents that are going to leave. Make sure that you have ones ready, lined up to take over those vacant units. Now, and again, these are things that, you might think, well, I do this often. We've already had 40 plus communities. Be ready with your marketing. Have a hit the ground running strategy that you can implement regardless of what community it is, regardless of what demographic it is. So Amy, that's all we have for today. If you're still stumped and you have some questions about how you can increase your community's occupancy, keep sending in those Q&As. We love to hear from you. You guys are out on the front line. You're our eyes and ears. So send those in to me at barbara@watchyourbusinesssprout.com. Now, if you need a little bit more help or you have a new takeover and you want to know a little bit more about Sprout's e-pack, please email sprout@watchyourbusinesssprout.com or visit our website at www.watchyourbusinesssprout.com. Now, that's all we have for today, but we look forward to visiting with you guys next week on our Q&A Wednesday.